don't know that I was in that dentistry field with Aspen Dental.
Yes.
So we had a lot of crossover there, but I'm just excited because the Donna Show Live is always connecting you to people, information, and resources that help you live your best life every day of the week.
Yes.
I want to live my best life once a week.
Every day.
7 days.
24/7.
24/7. So that's what we do here. And we bring you guests like none other. So no matter how you're connecting, social, TV, or radio, you're going to have quite the interview today. Now, we've gotten quite a few questions through our email blast.
All right, bring it on.
Like we got 3 pages.
Woo!
So we may have to do it after show. I don't know.
That's what I'm talking about. I love it.
But you're in radio too. So we got to make sure we pay for the show. So let's go ahead and thank a few sponsors, right? So shout out to Office Furniture Warehouse. They give us our nice furniture here. All right. We want to give a big shout out to Nothing But Cakes and Starbucks. Aren't they great sponsors?
They're wonderful
Like,
sponsors. I love Starbucks.
look, like,
Where's mine? Where's mine? You know, see how she doing me already? See how she doing me?
I'll give you a gift card. I'll get you. You know I got you. But we also want to say thank you to Trango Logistics. They're about a $45 million 3PL logistics company right here, but they're serving nationally and globally. You know, those essential workers, they really helped us and kept us in business.
Absolutely.
And then last but not least, MSI, Workforce Solutions. Can I get a big woo? So they are our sponsors. I am so glad. I got to tell you, I'm looking out in the audience, and all I see are these masks with Dr. Elenora Wood's name all over them. So you are doing some branding out there.
Oh, baby, we're branded. We're branded.
She does not play. Now, I also want to say a big shout out to some of our students. We have a couple of students here, and I'm so grateful to have them from CSAS. So thank you to everybody. All right, a couple more things real quick. Girls Inc., they need a restaurant, Dr. Woods, to help them bring in some donations. So we got to find one more restaurant,
Okay, we're gonna make that
Just
happen.
one.
We're gonna make that
Yes.
happen. Let me do some talking.
Yes.
Y'all know when I do some talking, I make it happen.
I can talk anybody anything about anything. You can too.
Yes.
PEF, Public Education Foundation, guys, they're still looking for mentors. 15 minutes a week, 1 hour a month. And the good thing, Dr. Woods, they're not asking you to do something you don't know how to do. They're saying, hey, bring the skills you have. Like for me, mine would be in HR and PR, right?
Right.
Yours would be in politics, entrepreneurship,
Business, anything.
So
Dentistry, you got it.
1 hour, Dr.
1 hour.
Woods. 1 hour a month. And lastly, we're going to be having a fashion show here live on December 15th. And we're doing that, and we're also going to find, it's a community event. We're going to find one lady that doesn't get the pampering like you and I do. Somebody who's less fortunate. I've got a lot of sponsors who are all coming together to make that one lady feel special. But we're also featuring a local woman in her new business boutique. You know, we just support women of all backgrounds, all races. And then later in January, we have a junior co-host. We're doing a competition right now, right?
Oh, okay.
And then February, and finally, before we turn it to the lady of the hour, in February, we're going to be featuring small African-American, brown and black owned businesses. That's it. I live that every day of the month and every day of the year, right? I believe in black and brown, so that's who I am. So I like to say, quit celebrating it once a month and act like we're doing something special.
365, please.
Everybody in the audience, you can say yes, right?
Yes.
So we can look at 365, but that's a lot of things coming up. But now, I'm so excited again. If you are just now tuning in, the Donna Show Live commits to connecting you to good news, real news. We're connecting you to people, information, and resources that help you live your best life. My friend, Dr. Elenora Woods, and she says you're next mayor.
That's
You know
what,
what you told me?
that's what I told you.
All right. So
I
first
ain't never
of all,
lied yet.
yeah, so here's the thing we got to do, though. If we're connecting them to people, I need them to know you like I know you. Where did Dr. Elenora Woods start? Where did you grow up?
Well, you all know I was born in College Hill Courts on the west side. So if you're on the west side, say west side.
I know,
Y'all
but
say
I'm
it
still
right.
going to give it a prom.
West side, okay. So College Hill Courts, and of course I've been all over the place. Alton Park, Paul's Home, Willa Homes. You know, I've been
Boone Senior.
Yes.
Yep.
So you all know I'm the daughter of Chattanooga. When I say I'm the daughter of Chattanooga, that means everybody has had a little bit of hands on me in my raising. And I've been all over the city.
The village.
That's right, the village is raising the children. I was one of those. And my mama Henry Elementary. And then, of course, busing. Well, I started at Normal Park because the busing started. Normal Park, and then I went to James A. Henry.
Wow.
And then I came back to the North Shore, went to North Side, and finished up at City.
So after that, you decided to go to college.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and I have to think, like, was college really in your vision? Was somebody saying go to college, or was that just something that, how did that happen? Because we know a lot of children who are in the underserved population
Yes.
and the areas that you come from, that we're striving to help. College is not the top thing. It's about
Right.
go get a job and just pay for bills.
That's why I believe in mentorship. You know, I was touched by a dentist. I was touched by a dentist, and I said, you know what? I think I want to come out of poverty. I think this is what I want to do when I grow up, and I love teeth.
Well, you
I love
answered another
teeth.
question. So you saw somebody.
Yes, he was a white dentist, as a matter of fact, and so it doesn't matter what color you are. You know, you can influence people.
Yes.
And so he influenced me positively, and so I started off at UT Knoxville, graduated from UT Knoxville with a bachelor's degree. Hello.
I'm a roll tide fan, but we're still gonna keep it rolling.
And let me tell you, you know, it was rough because when you don't have the best, I say the best of education, but you're there, you have to catch up sometimes. So for those who are out there struggling a little bit, don't worry about it. You can catch up. They got the best tutors, the best people to help you gain the knowledge and
I
wisdom
had
that you
an
need.
instructor say, you don't need to make A's to get out of college, you just need to graduate.
See,
So,
well, I
we
had
want to
one.
strive for A's for the high school students, but you don't have to be the top student.
Right, there'll be people to tell you that you can't do it. I had my advisor, my first advisor, UT Knoxville, said I should pick something different because dentistry was too hard. And you know me now, all you gotta do is tell me I can't. So I love it when my critics say you can't do it.
Yes.
Because when you give me that challenge,
Yes.
it's a fight then.
So you go on to UTK to get you end up being a dentist.
Yes, I go from there to UT Memphis,
Yes.
where I studied and got my doctoral degree there. And then I came out and started my own practice as a sole proprietor. And I'm gonna tell you something, I didn't have all the bells and whistles. You don't have to have the bells and whistles. I had refurbished equipment, but it was good refurbished equipment. Started off in a one-room office, and then outgrew that very fast, built my own facility, and now look at me now. I tell you what, I've seen it all. I have seen it all.
Well, you know, and we worked directly together, but indirectly. And I remember it was about 10 years ago, and we were doing some kind of event, and a lady, I'll say Emily was her first name, but she was desperate for dental care, and I was coaching cheerleading. And you don't even know this, but we threw out some names, and so she found you in the yellow pages, I believe. Yellow pages. But anyway, the long story short was, you helped her. You literally, I think you gave her some very big discounts. She didn't have insurance, but I was coaching her daughter, and they were close to being homeless. But that's something that I never said, hey, thank you, but thank you.
You're
but this
welcome.
was a lady who had a son, a daughter, she had a fiance, and they were trying to make something. But you could always find her at the rec league doing everything. I thought, well, surely somebody will help her. You threw her names out, and you helped her. You gave her dental care at a very discounted price, and I believe she went away happy.
Yes.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
So you got that doctorate, and you moved on. When did you start saying, okay, I need to be doing something in my community? Because that community bug hit you early.
Yeah, when I went off to college, I knew then that I would come back to my own community and give back. Because it's our moral obligation. I mean, I could have went anywhere in the world and practiced dentistry, as you all know, but I decided to come back to my hometown where I grew up to give back to my community. And I started giving back to my community the moment I opened up my doors. And so giving to the young lady is something that I have a passion for. So I created the Dental Angel Fund
I do
Foundation.
remember that, yes.
And I've given away millions of dollars worth of free dental care over my span of 31 years.
Can I get some of that dental care?
Yes, you can. No, you got too much money. You got too much money.
No,
But I get some
don't let the
discounts.
suit- When I tell people, don't let the suit and the heels fool you.
But I help my friends out. I help family, people that are in need. I just gave over $27,000 worth of services to the veterans in this community. And so I continue to give. I think that when you give, the Lord watches over you and provides for you. So that is a part of my inner being. That's a part of my inner
So you
being.
move out, so first of all, how many practices do you have now?
Well, I have the one in Dalton, which I do a lot of implants. I do a lot of crown and bridge dentures and everything that you can imagine. And then I have my community clinic, which is out in Alton Park.
Nice, nice.
Yes.
So if you are out there, I've got to give a plug. If you're out there and you need dental services and you don't have dental care, or you do, but it's one of those plans that really aren't worth having,
Right.
reach out to her. You can reach out to me on my Facebook, and I will make sure to get you through to her. But you can find her literally everywhere. But go to her pages if you're in Georgia, right?
Yes.
And where's that
It is at 1531 Walnut, West Walnut Street. But call me first, because you all know I'm busy now, but I will fit you in.
She'll fit you in the call to practice and get somebody else to help you out.
Yes.
But, so now you get into dentistry, you start helping in the community. So I'm gonna jump forward. First of all, I want them to know your family. You've got a lot of people here in the audience, but who's your family? When we think about Dr. Woods, who's behind the great Dr. Woods?
Everybody.
Yep.
But my children, let me tell you about my children. I raised my children mainly as a single mom. Y'all know I was married but divorced. And they have just been the most amazing kids. And I tell people the reason why they're amazing kids, it starts with the parents at home. It really does. When you show love, when you show love and you listen to your kids and you give them expectations, you expect them to yield to authority. And when they go out, they'll be productive citizens and good children and good adults. So
How old are your kids?
I've got twins that are 22, and I have a grandbaby.
Okay.
Shout out to my baby Nairobi. She's 1 month old.
Shout out, but you got me there. So I'm a twin. Did you know that?
No.
I can't believe we didn't know this. Yes,
Yes.
I'm a twin, a fraternal twin. Now I always like to say he's a minute older, but I'm a lot cuter. And then my sisters are identical, so 2 sets,
Wow.
2 years apart, and yes, same mom, same dad. But yeah, think about that for a minute, right?
Yeah, I have twins, and I also have a daughter that's 28 years old. So I have, all my kids are adults
And a
now.
grandbaby.
And a grandbaby
Nice.
now.
Because
Yay.
you know what? I think that we have to humanize the mayoral spot. When you're in a mayor role, doesn't matter what you've done behind the scenes. Everybody knows I'm a Burke fan and I'm a Jim Coppinger fan. And I tell people, you can be fans of a mayor and love them and like what they do. Doesn't mean you agree with everything, right?
Absolutely.
You and I haven't always agreed on everything.
Yes.
That's what makes good, healthy relationships. But something happens when they go into that role of mayor. All of a sudden, it's like, ooh, we can't touch them. And it's kind of the way society has made it.
Yes.
So that's why I really try to make sure they know who you guys are.
Right.
So talk about, what do you do? First of all, I know you work all the time, but what do you and the family do outside of all the work and all the community work that you do? What do you do?
Well, we have family time. We have family time. We
Do
spend
you
time
cook?
together. I am the best cook. So
Uh-oh.
for both that think that professional women, let me tell y'all something. People that think that professional women can't cook, they have not met me. I get down like mama now. I get down like mama
I heard
now.
that, right?
Dressing
Yeah,
chicken,
so
dressing
right.
turnip green, all that good stuff I can cook.
Well, you know, I've been married to Mancow for 24 years.
Oh, you better have learned.
Well, I'm gonna watch y'all's faces. I'll tell you this now. My mother-in-law
Yeah.
and his grandmother,
Uh-huh.
they eat my turkey dressing.
Oh,
They
all
eat
right,
my
right.
collard greens. So y'all know, we used to have to divide the table. The green beans on this side, the collard greens. Now we just kind of throw it all.
Right.
But I thought that about you. You got a domestic side.
I very much so.
So as we went through this, I gotta go somewhere because if not, somebody's gonna tell me, ooh, first of all, she did come in with her mask. Where's your mask?
Well, I
Oh, we
gave
gave it away.
Here, let me bring
Yes.
it over here. Can somebody
Somebody-
bring me the mask?
But I will tell you, we did all the checks when she came in the door. We did temperature checks, so if we need to do contact tracing, so please don't send me a message you didn't see my mask.
Y'all see my mask?
Y'all
What
see-
does it say? Read it. It
She
says
came in.
vote for
Vote-
Dr.
vote for
Elenora
Dr.
Wood
Elenora Wood,
for
right?
mayor. Yes.
For mayor.
Woo!
Yes.
Yes.
Alright, so with that though, as we started talking about, when we got all the candidates confirmed, and then all of a sudden like 4 or 5 more showed up. So we have all but 2 confirmed right now. Do you know there's 17 people running?
Yes. I think competition is great. Bring
Y'all
it.
heard that? I like that
I don't
too.
care about competition. I love competition.
competition.
It brings
And-
the best out of
Well,
us.
we, the constituents, need to know that you had to go through something
Mhm.
to get here. If it was a job that was easy, anybody could do it, right?
Absolutely.
But I will tell you a couple of things. We're going to go there. I want to talk about, you made a decision. First of all, you were president of the NAACP.
Yes.
And
yes.
you made a decision to support somebody in a political world, and they didn't like that. What happened? Now, we know that's the short version.
Yes. Yeah, so, and it always goes back to reading and comprehension. And if you can't read and comprehend, it
Yes.
always goes back to that.
Yes.
And I do have to be careful because I do have an attorney.
Yes.
But I will say that we have constitution and bylaws that state that NAACP cannot endorse. The NAACP cannot endorse a political candidate.
But that wasn't you.
I was in my person. I'm telling you all, I was in my person. So, I always say it's a season for everything. So, yes, Michael Bloomberg is a friend. And, yes, I did introduce him. And, yes, as a private citizen, I supported him. Never mentioned the NAACP.
Okay.
So, it goes back to reading and comprehension.
what does the bylaw say,
Yes.
and what does it mean, and you can interpret it your way, or you can interpret it the way the judges and the courts
Yes.
interpret it.
Yes.
And so I did nothing wrong. Of course, you know, as you all know, they asked me to step down and took
Right.
my membership and all that great stuff.
But I'm glad to hear you say it, because again, you do have an attorney, and I don't want to go anywhere we shouldn't.
Yes.
But I did, because if not, they're going to say, well, why didn't you ask her the hard questions? Well, there you
Yeah.
go, we did.
Yeah. And I gave a lot of my life,
yeah.
and I will still
How
continue
long were
to
you
fight.
president?
I was president for 3 terms. This was my 3rd term, and I have sacrificed my life. My family has been put, you know, in danger. I have done so much. I have gotten people out of trouble. I've fought the police department. I've fought the sheriff department. I've fought the court system. I have been a true fighter for civil rights in this community. And you should ask the victims that have been victimized, their civil rights have been taken, how they feel about Dr. Woods. And I can tell you,
Right.
they will say that this woman right here put everything she had into fighting for civil rights. And I'm going to continue to do that as your mayor.
And you still support NAACP. which
Absolutely,
I think is admirable.
absolutely,
Yeah, very
absolutely.
admirable.
Because like I said, it's all about reading and comprehension.
Yeah.
And I forgive folks that cannot understand what they're reading. And so if anybody wants to look at the Constitution and bylaw, and then go back and flip through the video where I introduced Michael Bloomberg, then you all can read it for yourself, get an interpreter if you can't understand it, and then you will know that I was wrongfully accused.
Well, I'm glad you shared that. We can kind of move on. But I do like people to know from the person, and I know you're
Yes.
that person. Hear it from the source. But moving on, we send out email blasts. We love to set up anybody who's a guest doctor, but we like to set these mayoral candidates up for success. And your information was easy to retrieve, so we sent out a lot of emails.
Yes.
We got a lot of questions, and I
Sure.
don't know if we'll get through all of them. But the first one is, why? I know this sounds cliche, but I do like to know, why are you running for mayor?
Yeah, so you all know I've been in the community for over 31 years. And I've been at the grassroots level, listening to the people in the community and knowing what the people want in the community and not seeing it being addressed. And the people asking me to run. I decided that if anybody could get it done, and you all have never known me as being a sellout. You all know when I'm for you, I am for you. And I'm not going to change. That's why they say, oh, Dr. Woods can't be lassoed in, you know. She's a wild card. I'm not a wild card. I'm a people's card. So if it's some things that this community need, and I've heard it from my patients, I've heard it from my friends and family, I've heard it from the people in this community, that things are not being addressed, and they get tired of folks running for mayor, saying they're going to do this, or running for office, saying they got their back, paying them a little money to agree to work on their campaign. And then when they get there, they turn their backs. They act like they've never seen them or don't know them. That's not me. Somebody asked, well, Dr. Woods, you got plenty of money. Why you want to run for mayor? I want you all to know right now, I'm not running for money. I'm not running for the money. That's what set me aside from a lot of my constituents, or a lot of my counterparts. I'm not running for money. I'm running for you. I'm running for you. I praise the Lord that I've had a fantastic career, a stellar career, made plenty of money, got all that out the way, and I can focus on you. I can focus on the needs of this community. The single black woman, the single white woman, the poor people, the homeless people, the little children that are not getting the education that they're supposed to get.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the initiatives. One of the questions are, what are your top 3 initiatives, or 3 of your initiatives?
One of the first things we're going to deal with is this homelessness and the mental illnesses that come with some of that. You know, we have a whole lot of folks that are suffering with mental illnesses in this community. We've got to deal with that.
Yes.
We've got to deal with that. And I know.
Now, did you see recently, last year they said that we actually, I say rectified, but we actually knocked out homelessness and then it came again. How does that happen?
Because you're basically putting a Band-Aid on it. When you put a Band-Aid on a problem, then you're not fixing it. We've got to get to the root. And I love talking about this from a medical perspective. I can give you an antibiotic and I can give you a pill for pain, but as soon as that wears off, the infection comes back and the pain comes
Still
back.
there.
But if I don't get rid of that tooth, or do a root canal and get all the problems, the things that are creating the problems, then you're still gonna have the problem. Once I do that, then the problem goes away, right?
So you're going to focus on mental health and homelessness. Now,
Yes.
let's kind of segue into women. And let's talk about it in two different ways, Dr. Woods. One, let's just talk about women as a whole.
Yes.
We are making less money still.
Yes.
And I want to give a shout out. I know that Mayor Burke has. I've been a founding member of the Mayor's Council for Women. So I know we've done work, but it's foundational work. So let's start with, how do you plan to help women from all races, one, get equal pay to our counterparts, upward mobility. You know, I know women who've worked at certain corporations I won't name, but they've been in the same job for 10 years, 12 years, while their counterparts are just getting, men of all colors are progressing. So what do you think you can do or plan to do for women in terms of salaries and upward mobility?
First of all, it's a matter of making the choice to do it.
Okay, I agree
You
with
just go in and you look at it and you say, hey, this is inequitable. Y'all know I love equality and equity. You look in and you say, this is inequitable, raise them up. If they're doing the same job and they've got the same title, or they're equal,
Yes,
they should be
yes.
getting equal pay.
I agree.
So that's a matter of just making it happen. It's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice of
So
your leadership.
organizations looking at themselves and saying, for the counterparts, there should be no difference.
There should be no
All right,
difference.
now let's go back to City Hall. Let's say the day after you are selected as mayor, and the next day you go in. Do you foresee you setting a precedence, if you will, and making sure that everyone is a minimal of $15 at City Hall?
Number one, I did a survey. I'm so glad you brought this up. If any of you all have been a part of my survey, we went through the city and did surveys all over the city. And the number one thing that people wanted in particular is $15 an hour. You're going to get that. Day one, you work for the city. If you don't make $15 an hour, you're going to get $15 an hour. Somebody said, well, Dr. Woods, how you going to balance the budget? Balance the budget? I know how to balance the budget. I know how to balance the budget. If you're getting too much over here, we got to move it over here. We may have to cut out some programs that are not working.
Right.
But we got to take care of the people first, because you all know COVID is real. And so all this heavy tourism that we were getting all these millions and even billions of dollars from is all but gone away. Everything is closed down in the city. So how do we become self-sustainable? Self-sustainable is what we're at right now. So the money that we would normally typically see coming in from tourism, we got to figure out a different way. So that means paying our people that live in our city better wages, making sure they can afford to take care of their families, making sure that those public works people that are working and busting their butt every day can take care of their families and feed their families and have insurance that they can take home and provide for their families, their children and their wives.
Well,
So-
I do like the approach. I will say from an HR perspective, when you're looking at internal equity in any organization, including the city of Chattanooga, I do think it's important that, I will say again, going to Mayor Burke, we actually approached Blue Cross, the Women's Council.
Yes.
We approached these businesses, and so they hosted one of our big events, and it was packed because it was women who
Right.
really want equitable, and even some of those in there, they've been, like Dr. Burge, she's been making tons of money, but she knew in order to be equitable in this city,
Yes.
every woman at that table had
Yes.
to be increased. So I do think it starts with one-on-one conversations from the mayor's office, the
Yes.
mayor's administration, saying to the Blue Crosses, all the way to the MSI.
Yes, yes. It's called leveraging your power. People want to do business with Chattanooga. For instance, when developers come in, they hire
Yes.
folks. If you want to do business with us in this city, then you'll pay your employees $15 an hour when they come to work for you. If not, you're not going to get the contract.
Right.
It's called leverage. We have
Right.
leverage in this community. So we're going to use that for the people.
Yes.
So that's why my campaign slogan is putting the people first. Everybody's been first, but the
Yes.
people in this city. So with me as your mayor, you will be first. You will be first. Not the folks from out of town that's coming in, taking the money and going back to their cities or their states, but the people that live in this community right here is first. We've got to become self-sustainable.
So let's go there. So, we do, and again, I only know what, you kind of talk about your experiences, right? You kind of
Yes.
reference your experience. So my experience has been for almost 8 years with Mayor Burke and with Coppinger. They talk about do business with the city or the county, right? They've got
Yes.
all the programs. Well, but I also know some businesses that have not truly benefited from
Right.
those programs. So how do you plan to, if someone, I'm going to give a person that you probably know, CPR rap, Felicia
Yeah.
Polk. So Felicia Polk Jackson, she had a personal incident in her car.
Yes.
Her child or grandchild started choking, and it led her to develop a product that's now nationwide. However, I tell people, don't look at her and think she's got it all because she's putting these great ads out.
Right.
She's still, you know, a struggling, striving entrepreneur. So she's an African-American female on top of that. So when she goes in to present, I can promise you, it is not the same way as when I go in to present.
Absolutely.
Let me just say that again. As an African-American female who has a far amazing product than I could ever invent, when she goes in and she tells her story, Dr. Woods.
Yes.
But if I were to go in and she were to go in, I can promise you there'd be a different outcome, which is not good. So how do we help her and other African-American businesses, minority-owned businesses, MBE, DBE?
Yes.
How do we help them not just exist but thrive?
First of all, you got to set the board up and not stack it against those individuals when they walk in to give their presentation. I've been a victim that way. When I walk in and I see all white men that are going to judge me, I already know I'm not going to get it. If it's a whole lot of white men out there waiting to get the same thing, I already know I'm not going to get it.
So how do we change that?
We gotta make sure that board is equitable. I've talked about equality and sitting at the table, being a part of the table for as long as you've known me. So when you go in, for example, with the mayors, they have a board of folks that review everybody that come in, they give their presentations. If you see that board does not represent you, should be a black woman on there.
It should look like the community that you're
It
serving.
should look like the community. And so the boards have to be fair and equitable. I had that same conversation with some foundation presidents. I said, why is your board all white, male, and female? Why aren't there any black folk on this board? You know,
I agree.
because you're trying to solve problems in the black community, yet no one from the black community is sitting in on your board. So aren't you tired of wasting millions and maybe even billions of dollars trying to fix our problem, and we're not sitting at the table? So first of all, we've got to straighten out the people that make the decision.
Who's making the decision. So
Yes.
I do like that. And sometimes there's not a board. Sometimes it's just a group of people that are reviewing an RFP or an RFQ, or, you know, they're just sitting there. But I do think that and tell me what your thoughts are, if you are a business like CPR Rap, like MSI, whoever, if you are minority owned and you went through the steps to get your MBE, DBE, and all other.
Right.
And again, not just MSI. This is not a cry. This is a cry for MSI. This is a cry
Yes.
for our community.
Yes.
I know too many businesses that suffered already.
Yes.
But now you add COVID, and it's a double hit. And they're losing lives. They're losing literally their livelihood. So would you be an advocate, Dr. Woods, to say these businesses that have done this, gotten their certifications, those people who are MBE, DBE, we will give them priority status?
Yeah, look at me. What do you see?
I see Dr. Woods.
You see Dr. Woods. You also see an African-American female that have been poor and that went through all of that. I have the experience that no one else in this whole campaign have experienced.
Well, we're gonna talk about that in a minute.
I have went through that whole process of being denied, and knowing I was the best or one of the best. So you can be the best that you can be. But if you're brown, you're still going to be expected to do 3 or 4 times as good as the other person.
Well,
so I understand that, and so that's where we fix it. That's why we need an African-American female that understands not only the white woman,
Yes.
the black woman.
Yes.
Yes, I understand the white man. I work with them. I'm in a profession that's predominantly white male. So I understand how the white male thinks.
Sure.
So somebody asked me, one of my white male friends said, well, Dr. Wood, what do you think about gun rights? I said, everybody should have the right to bear arms. If you come into my house and you're an intruder, I have a right to protect myself. Everybody has the right to bear arms. But don't put a canyon in your backyard or missiles in your backyard. Don't walk
Please
around with missiles attached to your car.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
That's a little bit,
Well,
so
I know.
sensible.
Yes,
sensible.
Yes. We in HR we like to say fair and reasonable, and a cannon in your backyard is not fair and reasonable.
Yes.
So, all right. So this next question I already know, but we've been successful, and it really depends on who you ask about the Mayor's Council for Women. But I feel like it has been successful. You got to start somewhere. So my next question I kind of already know, but you do plan to continue that big task force, and you plan to
Absolutely.
grow it, right?
We're going to tweak it where it needs to be
Yes.
tweaked, and we're going to fix some problems
Yes.
and some holes so that everybody can feel the
Yes.
victory and feel
Yes.
some success. That's what we got to
Yes.
fix.
I started seeing people, you're going to laugh, I started seeing people like Franklin McCauley show up at the dinners, and I was like, wait a minute, this is for women. He's like, we don't eat a lot. I don't eat. I said, go ahead and stay. But what I loved was he was so passionate.
I love Franklin.
I do too. Shout out to Franklin McCauley. But he was so passionate about just helping push women forward.
Absolutely.
So-
He's always been there as a civil rights advocate. In fact,
Yes.
I honored him some years ago
Oh.
with the John P. Franklin Humanitarian Award.
Yeah.
I put on that.
I do remember
I
that.
put on that and awarded him with that. And going back, let me
Yes,
touch
go
this
right
because
in.
it's really
Yes, ma'am.
important.
Go
We
ahead.
want to talk about, can we talk about equity in the justice system? Are we going to get there?
We're going to get there. We got a
Okay,
question
all
on
right.
that. So first of all, they want to know, potholes. One person, I'm going to kind of give the summarization. Potholes and things like that don't really matter to other people. That's part of our city's infrastructure. What do you plan to do to fix the horrendous, that's their word, horrendous infrastructure that we currently have in our city?
I am a big advocate for smooth roads and, communities that have good sidewalks and good roads to travel on. My daughter just had an accident in her car because of some potholes in the road, and then the side of the sidewalk had some pointy things sticking out, and almost tore up her car. It was about $4,000 worth of damage. And so we need to fix our roads. And I also think that if there's areas where that you have potholes in your community, you have a city council person,
Yes.
and you need to call them out when they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Hold people accountable. If you're a city council person and people are calling you, answer your phone. I will not allow people to call the mayor's office and not have their calls answered. So we're going to designate
I like that.
a special place where you can call, where you've not been able to get a hold of your city council, they're not answering you. If they're not answering you, recall them.
Yes.
If they're not fighting for you in your community, recall them. I like to do recalls. I tried
Yes.
one before. So I know how that works.
I'm going to keep going.
Yes.
Don't give her a hand clap. I'm going to keep going to the habit. So we're going to skip to, so right now it is very hard for a felon to get a job in Chattanooga. And I'm kind of setting this up. They've said it's hard for someone with a criminal history who has totally redeemed themselves to get a good paying job. The only way they typically do is when they go through some program like the city of Chattanooga has, but it's not for everybody. And I'm going to support that by ban the box. Are you familiar with that?
Let me tell you, I banned the box. Look at me in the camera. I was the person that banned the box.
Tell
Let me
people
tell
what
you how
that
happened.
means, because some people
Okay.
don't understand it.
When I was president of the NAACP, of course, it had been attempted many years. Because there'll be people say, no, I did it. No, I did it. They'd attempted to do it for many years, and they were not successful. Okay, so 2 years ago, I challenged our city council, Wade Hinton, at the time, city attorney at that time. I had a meeting with him. I told him, and he'll attest to this, I said, look, you grew up in the Ridgeway on the West Side Project, and I grew up in College Hill Courts. And we both went away to make something good of ourselves and to come back. Like I said earlier, we could have went anywhere, but we both came back to Chattanooga to make our city better. And if we can't make our city better, then our degrees are not worth the paper the ink is written on. I said, so if you don't know how to ban the box, I said, do what I do. When I don't understand something in dentistry, I call my colleagues and say, hey, Joe, I know you've done a lot of these cases. What do you think about this case? I send them the x-rays, and then we work together and figure out how to make it happen. I said, pick up the phone, call some of your colleagues, and ask them how they banned the box where they live, because they banned the box in many places.
Yes.
I said, and it's called cut and paste. If you don't know something and you want it, it's a good idea, you cut it and you paste it, right? And you do it because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And he told me, well, it's a conflict with our city charter. I said, well, change the city charter. He said, well, we can't change the city charter unless we put it on the ballot. I said, well, put it on the ballot. And so from that point, it was presented to the city council, and I think Russell Gilbert was one of the champions behind that, and the city council passed it to put it on a special election.
So what does that mean for the gentleman or the woman that has now had a history? They come to apply for a job in the city of Chattanooga. You can no longer ask
You
them.
cannot ask them. There's no box on any application for the city of Chattanooga. If any job, you have to fill out an application.
For the city of Chattanooga.
City of Chattanooga. We're not at liberty as a city government to tell private businesses
But
what to do.
can they do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So and again, I have a chief human resource officer. We have Dan Gilmore, who is our attorney for MSI. But I encourage you, because we have at MSI have been very fortunate to hire people who have backgrounds.
Yes.
Now, there are certain limitations. A lot of companies will say violent felonies or, of course, child sex offender registry. No. But other than that, it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't matter what you've done.
Yes.
You have to have an opportunity to redeem yourself.
Yes.
And so I'm going to say thank you for doing that.
Yes.
Thank you to anyone that was involved. Because, if we are not a society of second chances and third chances.
Yes.
I like to say the Tiger Woods syndrome. I just hadn't got caught.
That's right. And then let me just say this. We got a perfect example. One of our city council persons, was a convicted felon. She went through all the things.
Yes.
She went through all the necessary steps to get her citizenship back.
It wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't easy, but it can be done.
Yes. And she got her voting rights restored.
She got everything restored,
Yes.
and she ran for city council, and she's your city councilwoman now. So just because you've had a little bump in the road, I call it a bump in the road. I've had bumps in the road. I thank God that He has, given me all what I needed despite my little self. I mean, so we're not perfect. Don't look at me and think I'm perfect. I'm just a fighter that believes that you can make a mistake in life, and if God can forgive you, then who are we to judge somebody?
Well,
then
I
we
say
need
that
to give
about
people a
Tiger
chance.
Woods because of this. When he was big in his day and he went through his saga, if
Yes.
you will, in the public, all these people started talking about him, and I said, hold up, and really behind the scenes, I was saying the only problem is they just haven't got caught yet.
Absolutely.
So with that, let's segue to something else. So we're going to talk about equality and equity. Then I want to talk about your opponents. But you are an advocate. We kind of just touched on it. But what would you do as mayor for those people who have to present equity, equality among all levels? And I'm going to kind of leave that broad, not just for people seeking employment, from housing, but how do we make this a more equitable city?
One of the things that we're going to do with criminal justice is, and I'm working with some folk in the institution of justice now, is get rid of this felony conviction for folks that smoke weed. 1 ounce, you've gotten caught with weed, 1 ounce, you ought to not be convicted of a felony and your whole life being ruined. Come on. I've got colleagues that have been caught with doing cocaine. And the penalty for doing cocaine is you get sentenced off to a nice, cushiony rehab center where they get you rehabilitated, and then they let you come back and practice dentistry. But if you smoke a little weed, you get sent to HE double hockey stick.
Well, I will tell you, I've seen some cases where we've employed people and you get the background check results, and then all of a sudden you see, and they have to explain themselves.
Yes.
And and I don't know the terminology, but it was a very small amount of marijuana.
Yes.
So the other thing, let me kind of go HR on you. Go do your research. And again, I'm not saying I'm a proponent or not, so don't send me any messages. But I am saying this, as a woman who's dealt with epilepsy since 9 years old, now there's all types of resources. And there are many states, Dr. Woods, that are now saying it's legal.
Right, and so that's what I will fight for, number one. I'm not an advocate. I don't smoke marijuana. Don't think Dr. Woods is getting high when she get home. I'm not getting high when I get home, right?
She might need to sometimes,
but I know that a lot of people that are great people smoke marijuana.
I love her.
Now, the dope dealer, I ain't got nothing for y'all. But if you smoke a little weed and you got an ounce or less, then we're just going to give you a citation. That's what I'm going to fight for. You're going to pay me a little change, and we're going to put that money toward maybe education from 0 to 5, because that's what.
And maybe even figure out why they're using it. What can we
get
do
them
to
some
give
assistant rehab,
Yes,
just like the folks that use cocaine. Get them rehab.
Mental health, help them. So
Yes.
all right. So let's kind of move into now. First of all, we had a question on here, and I've already had it answered before, but I can't wait to see how you respond. Dr. Woods, do you think the city of Chattanooga is ready for a female mayor, part A, and B, an African-American mayor?
You got that right. Chattanooga is ready. They just need to be given the opportunity and the right candidate, somebody that they can believe and trust. I don't really think it's about color. I think it's about, do they trust you? Do they believe that you're a candidate that have the skills?
She said,
and
by the way,
how?
I am an African-American asking this question. So.
Yes. So look, I want you all to lower your fears. Lower your fears. Black women have ran families. Black families, not only just families, they've ran cities. They've ran government, and we run it well. We run our families well. I've been a single household mom, so you all know I've got what it takes to bring them in and make them act right. White men, I know you're thinking like, oh no, not a black woman. Feel at ease. I work with all these white men every day, in my profession. So I'm very comfortable with white men. Very comfortable. Don't feel afraid of me. We're going to continue to work together. I'm not going to take away people's ability to make money.
Well, let me segue to this one, and I'm going to set this up. So they're saying that this lady says sometimes, so she's a fan of yours, first of all.
Okay.
Sometimes people think that you come across super duper against Caucasian people. Are you?
Honey, let me tell you something. That's a lie from the pits
Super
of
duper.
H-E-double-I.
Super duper. Did
Oh,
y'all hear that word?
no. Oh, no, 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 no. Never, 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 never. 98% of my
You're my
practice,
friend.
98% of my practice is supported by white males and white women.
Nice.
Let me get that straight first. They are my friends. They are my family. I love white folks just like I love black folk. And if you're dirty and low down, no matter if you're black or white,
Yeah.
I'm going to treat you the same way like you're dirty and low down. I'm going to tell you about yourself.
But you know what I think
Yeah.
is,
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to tell you about
if
yourself.
I could get up and run around the building, I might. But you know, but I will say this. I have people ask me, you know, are you trying to save the black race? Because I've been married to a man of 24 years. I tell
Yes.
them no. I've just been educated over 24 years. And when you become educated and informed and enlightened, you are responsible for doing something with that information.
Absolutely.
I tell my son,
Yes.
every day, well, not every other day, but you know, he has a cool friend, I'm gonna say Colton, I won't call him out by last name, but Colton's white. Josiah back here, you see he's brown, and so, but I have to have those conversations with my son
Yes.
that, no, honey, you can't take your backpack to the mall. No, honey, you don't need to wear that hoodie to the mall. So I have to live that, but I believe when you become educated, and the NAACP, I believe that's kind of where she took that, like, ooh, because you're pro. No, being the NAACP, let me say this, doesn't mean you're against white people. And I will say, I will encourage my white counterparts to pull that fear down just a little bit.
Yes.
We're in a new day and time, and it is becoming more relevant that we are not going to be the majority. And so be more open and don't assume because, you know, my husband was appointed to the Minority Business Task Force.
Yes,
And
yes.
there were nobody looked like me at the table. But first of all, it's a crying shame that we have to have a Minority Business Task Force in
Yes.
2020. But
we do.
we do. But at the same time, there was nothing in me that was fearful. That was like, yeah, let's champion that. Let's cheer that on and help
Yes.
him move forward. Because until we all are truly, I don't like the org charts like this, Doctor.
Right.
We have a round org chart. So as long as we are like this, we can see each other.
Absolutely.
But, you know, and I just say that because I know what that girl's looking at. I know
Right.
her filter.
And let me tell you about that. When I was the president of the NAACP, I insisted that my white friends join. I insisted that.
Wait a minute, I can join?
What? Girl, look, we have helped white
Tony,
folks
get
in
that
the
membership
NAACP. Look, I had that conversation
I did
with
not know
Mayor
that.
Burke, and I called him out. I told him, I said,
didn't
Mayor
know
Burke, you've been the mayor now for 4 years. Now you're getting ready to run again, and you're the only mayor that have not joined the NAACP.
But I gotta tell you, I've been educated.
And I said,
I
if
didn't
you
know
don't,
that.
if you
Did
don't
you?
join, I said, if you don't join, I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna call you out. So yes, you can join the NAACP. How do you think we got here? The NAACP was founded by white folks too.
Yes.
And let me tell you something, we have helped white folk in the NAACP
love
since
it.
I've been there.
I love it.
You know, by the police who have attacked them, and they've come to us for help. They have problems on the job too. They have all kinds of lawsuits that they come to us with. So you don't have to be black to be in the NAACP and to use the NAACP
Well,
services.
let me say, seriously, I love it. I tell my son, you know, you gotta learn something new every day. That's my something new. I will get my application done because I am going to be a member.
Yeah.
Let
So
me go
for
to-
all of those NAACP members out there, I'm not speaking on behalf of the NAACP. She's asking me a question,
Yes.
okay? So I'm just answering her the question based
I'm
on
gonna
my
help your
experience.
membership
Do
go
that
up.
disclaimer now. I
Yes.
gotta do disclaimers. I'm not here representing the NAACP.
We know that, but look, I'm about to
Yes.
make their membership go up, so they need to be thanking you
Yes.
and me. All
Yes.
right. So let me go into something else before we talk about who's all in the race. So we know that you've been in the front a lot as a community member in NAACP, all the different roles you played about the challenges, we're going to say that, because I love the police department, but it's just like anything. You've got the good and the not so
Yes,
good.
you do.
So good and not so good. I'll give a shout out to Chief Roddy. He's a dear friend. Shout out to Assistant Chief Donna Vaughn, Nathan Vaughn. We love you guys. We thank you. But my dad, you know, he was a fireman for
Yes.
many years in Chattanooga.
Yes.
So I've been born into this, but we know there's some challenges.
Yes.
So what do you plan to do? First question, yes or no. Would you defund the police department?
I have, in my speech, when I made my announcement, I told everybody, it would be ludicrous, and I can lose some votes, it's okay, I'll pick up 1 million more. It would be ludicrous to defund our police department. And I said it before, I'm gonna say it again.
I agree.
If you get in trouble, if somebody's done something to you or your loved one, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters? Who you gonna call? You better have a well put together police department.
Yes.
What we will do is we're going to look at some things and strategize on how we can make it better, how we can make it where there are more African Americans on the police force, including doing some more heavy recruitment at black historical colleges and universities. And if we have to find another chief, if it's not working, I'm willing to sit down with Chief Roddy, sit down and talk with him. But if it's not working, we're going to have to find another police chief. So Chief Roddy, keep it together, get it together, and let's make it work. If not, we have to do what we have to do in our community to make our police department better. One thing, yes. And one thing we are going to do is get rid of that chokehold. Now I know how the charter work. It's an old law in the charter. We can get rid of that. So the chokehold law is gone, y'all, from the city of Chattanooga day one. I'm going to have to pull it up, send it to the council, tell them to vote on it. So tell your council people to vote yes to get rid of the chokehold. Let's put it on the ballot. Let the people in this community vote to get rid of the chokehold, so we won't ever have a situation in Chattanooga where police officers are allowed to put a chokehold on anybody and get away with it without being sent before the courts.
So we are at our 10-minute mark on the Donna Show Live. We got about 10 to 12 minutes left today with Dr. Elenora Wood. She is your African-American female candidate for the City of Chattanooga mayor role. We are tuning in today live because we connect you to people, information, and resources that help you live your best life. We are sponsored by Office Furniture Warehouse. Give them a round of applause. That's what this beautiful set is by. Also, Nothing But Cakes, Tranco Logistics, MSI, and Starbucks. We thank you. We thank you for your loyalty. We thank you for your support. And we thank you for your love and passion for community, all things community. On the Donna Show Live, we're not trying to make you have an opinion, but we like to set it up. I'm an HR and PR person. I like to set it up, make it look pretty, give you all the facts, and let you make your decision. We're about to segue into a few things that I think are most important. It is what sets aside the candidate from one candidate from another. I do want to give my shout out and appreciation to everyone who serves in any kind of civic role, specifically to every member who sits on that diocese for the City of Chattanooga City Council. It's a hard job. It's a thankless job, but you sign up for it. So my hat's off to you for doing it. I'm not going to, but I sure will promote it and talk about it. But my hat's off also to the County Commission. Hats off to Mayor Burke, who is the City of Chattanooga mayor now, and of course to Jim Coppinger. Again, people may not agree with you on everything, but I love to make sure that people, just like I tell my 15-year-old, let's say Dr. Wood is the mayor. You may not like her, but I ask that you respect her. You respect the position of power.
Yes.
Right now, we got a lot of things going on in our nation between Trump and Biden. And again, it doesn't matter who you pick. If you can respect the position that individual holds and the authority and what it's called to do, be a wise steward. And if you believe in the Bible, which I do, the laws of the land are there for a reason. And even if you don't, guess what? What you put out will come back to you.
Amen.
So with that being said, we've got about 10 minutes and we're going to wrap it up. But Dr. Woods, I love you. I appreciate you. People ask me all the time, are you really friends with these people? I'll let you answer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are friends, and you could call us besties.
Yeah.
I will tell you, yes, it is a lot of hard work serving the public.
It
You
is.
do get a lot of criticism, even when you do your very best.
Yes.
So I just ask everybody to put these shoes on and walk in them. And then maybe you can respect what we go
Yes.
through every day.
And my hat's
And-
off to each one of you that have decided. We're up to 17 mayoral candidates. I believe it's the first in the Chattanooga history. Don't quote me on that. Don't fact check me, but I believe it is. But now I want to talk about it because right now we're going to be, you've already had your invitation, but we're going to have Chattanooga Connected 2.0 with about 6 of the candidates. We're not going to have them all. We're going to have you top 6. I'm sure you'll be there.
Yes.
But it's going to be right here. And we're going to debate and talk about all the issues. Now, that'll be, I think, February. But let's back up. 17 people. Tell me why, to the viewers and the listeners, why should they select Dr. Elenora Woods and go check that box for you in March for you to be their mayor? Why?
First of all, I think you need to look at who I am as a person. You know, what I've done since I've been in the community. I'm not just talking about it. I've already done it. I've been there for you for 31 years, taking care of your children, taking care of your moms, your dad, doing everything I know I could possibly do to make this community better. That's number one. Number two, I think a mayor needs to be a good business person. I've been a businesswoman for 31 years. I can run a business. I know how to make money. I know how to balance the budget. I know how to work across the field. I'm one of the most diverse candidates in this race. I'm a single mom. I understand what mothers go through every single day trying to raise their children. I understand what the black male is going through every single day, trying to get a job but can't find a job, can't find enough money to take care of their kids. I understand what the grandmoms are going through that are raising their children that are having to find the means to take care of their grandchildren with hardly no one there to support them. I see you, and we're going to do something special for you Christmas. We're going to give a coat and a hat away. Thanks to all the people that came down and supported us last Saturday, we did turkey giveaways.
Wow.
And so our headquarters is at 2439 Glass Street. I'm in the neighborhood.
Say it again.
2439 Glass Street. I am in the neighborhood. I know with our people, they don't want to come outside of their neighborhoods. So I don't worry about that because I'm going to come to you. And that's where I am. I'm going to meet you where you are. Doesn't matter if you're black or white. I'm diverse. I can work with you.
What about early childhood education?
We have not done enough for that. If you think about it, I looked at the budget, all 889 pages of Mayor Burke's proposal for 2021, all the way, I don't know how you get all the way up to 2025, but it's not enough money in there for early childhood education. It's sad. So we're going to divest or invest in our early childhood education because I'm sick and tired of our kids reaching the 3rd grade, as they say, and they're not on the reading level that they should be on. And subsequently they get into trouble and end up falling off. So we're going to fix that because 0 to 5 is where it's at. And that's something that the mayor has control over. 0 to 5 is early childhood education. And we need to be putting money in the 0 to 5 age group. And I'm going to be a big proponent of that. We're going to get the best grant writers, the best folks that we can think of to put money, pour it at millions of dollars.
Well, we know that, and we have a teacher in the audience today, so we know that if kids don't have it by, 3rd grade, then we don't know what's going to happen. So I think that's somewhere that we, again, I applaud the efforts, but we have to have a mayor that's going to come in, pick up the baton like they're running track, and move forward with that. So here's another question. Again, I still want to talk about the opponents. We've got about 6, 7
I didn't touch the neighborhoods.
Go ahead.
I didn't touch the neighborhoods.
Yes.
You know the neighborhoods. You all know who you are. Alder Park, Pineywood, Avondale, Eastdale, East Chattanooga, West Side. You all know that you've been neglected. I know you've been neglected. I'm there with you. I see it every day. I have family members that live in these communities. We're going to change that. We're going to put money into those communities because, as I said, COVID has forced us to do some other things. So while we've been spending money on building Chattanooga up, which I love it, don't get me wrong, I'm not a proponent against that. But now we need to take care of our communities, and that's what we're going to be doing, making our neighborhoods better. The small business folks, housing, we're going to be doing development there. If you come to our city and you do some major developments, I'm going to require you to do some housing, some low-income housing. Out of all those tax breaks that you get, that we give you, then build 2 or 3 houses and call it a day so somebody can have a place to live. You can do that. It doesn't take you that much money. You know, with all the money we give.
I love downtown. In fact, I would live there when my kid leaves, I'll probably go there and live downtown. But it has to be equitable. And we, right now, again, I'm so thankful because I remember Walter Cronkite called our city the dirtiest city in the nation.
In 1965, he did.
Years ago. But is it truly for everybody? And that's what I look at. So, part of the Donna show is it's about teaching everybody and helping everybody live, work, learn, play, retire right here. But I was actually in one of the projects probably about 2 years ago, and we were, some of the police officers, we were all just feeding hot dogs, nothing big, we had to have some fellowship, right? Well, there was 3 kids with a single African-American mom, and I started talking about the riverfront, and he kept saying, Mama, Mama. He said, what is she saying? What is she saying? I said, the riverfront. He had no idea that there was a body of water, let alone he was in this brick encasing, right? So short version was we took him down to have ice cream to see the riverfront, right? But it made me think, like, are you serious? But housing has to change, and affordable housing doesn't have to look like affordable housing.
And we're not going to gentrify your community. Just because we come in and build houses, we're going to make them where you can stay in your communities. One of the biggest faults that we've had is we have moved these people out of their communities and built Taj Mahal houses, and they can't afford to stay in their neighborhoods, thus moving black folks in particular into one district called District 28.
This is data and research. You can go look it up.
I call District 28 Plantation 28 because they put all the black folks in District 28. And that's the strongest voting power we have. I get that.
You got a question, Tony?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody
Yeah.
from social media.
Yep. So I have taught in a low socioeconomic school and am a quality teacher for 13 years and took the first opportunity to leave. What can you do to help retention of high quality teachers in low socioeconomic schools?
Well, that's a conversation I'm going to have with our superintendent, because let me let you all understand, the city mayor controls early childhood education. That's 0 to 5. When you get to kindergarten, that becomes your superintendent's job from K to 12 and your county mayor.
Okay.
So we already have a relationship. I have personal relationships and a professional relationship with our superintendent. We've got to get those guys on board with the county commissioner. You all stop blaming everything on your city council people. You all need to show up at the county commissioners meeting. They meet every Wednesday at 9 o'clock, I believe, and make them accountable. They are your elected officials. They're over your schools. They're the ones that hold the money back from the schools. So I will work very hard with those people on the other side that deal with K through 12 to make it better. But you know what we always do? We give extra money to folks to keep them in school. So maybe we need to do some type of retentive effort. But I think if you love school and you love to teach, then there's something that goes beyond money that will propel you to stay in those schools and help those children. Because it's like with me, something else has to be inside of me to make me love dentistry. Because you know it's hard work.
It is hard, yeah.
Hard work. So it's got to
And
be
the
beyond the
suicide
money.
rate.
Yeah.
The suicide
Number
rate
one.
for dentistry is number 1.
But I'm not killing myself
No,
for
no, no.
nobody, so
It's
don't
just a
think I'm
hard-
going to kill myself.
But it
That's
is-
not Dr. Woods.
But it is a hard profession. So I want to quickly kind of wrap up with a couple more questions, but I want to add to that question. Thank you to the viewer. But one thing, we were doing Chattanooga Speaks, the platform, the thing that I co-founded, and it's just a panel discussion, hard panel discussion between black and white people. And so we went to UTC, Chattanooga Speaks at UTC.
Yes.
And I can't think of his name, but Dr. Charles, he's at Brainerd, he's been to a few of the high schools. He brought the Brainerd students there. And they were so smart, and every one of them African American, but one of them stood up and said, when are you guys, they said, first of all, my teacher's afraid of me. And I thought, oh my gosh. She said, my white teacher is afraid of me. And of course it struck a nerve, like, oh my gosh. And she said, and I understand, but when are you guys going to start sending teachers that are more equipped to serve us? And it really did strike a nerve, and that's nothing negative. It's not a racial
Right.
comment, but you have to be prepared to be in, you have to look like who you're serving, right? And then if not, it's kind of like I'm sending somebody in that's not cultured,
Right.
and these children know
Exactly.
that, they know it. So,
It's called cultural diversity,
Yes.
and that's why I'm the best candidate for this job.
so question.
Yes.
We know years ago, the city of Chattanooga got, and I say it like this, don't get me, got out of the business of education, so to speak, and they
Yes.
split that. Would you be opposed to the city of Chattanooga taking that back?
I'm not against anything that the voters want to
Oh,
do.
I like that. I like
The
that.
voters will decide how they want this city ran. I am just your executor. You get that? I'm your executor. That means when the voters decide what they want at the poll, then that tells me what my charge is to do.
Okay.
So I am your servant.
Kind of like dentistry.
Yes, I'm your servant. So it's what the voters want.
Okay.
That's what I give.
All right, so wrapping up, I got 2 more questions, and I always give the candidates, every mayoral candidate gets an opportunity to wrap up, because I think we like to leave with their comments and their thoughts, so it leaves you with an impression of them. But my last question is, we got 17 candidates, and it's not, ooh, how do you stand out, but we got some people that I don't even know. Again, it sometimes to me seems like a popularity contest, and I don't like that, because this is a serious thing. We're dealing with our
Very
lives
serious.
here, but talk about how you compare to them. Not, ooh, I'm better, but how do you literally compare to them? Because some of the people come, some of you are highly educated, some have just been in the business world, but there have been some that have never had to make a payroll.
Right.
And to me, when I pull into this studio, this parking lot, like you probably,
Yes.
those are lives that I represent. If I don't do what I have to do every day, they don't get paid. So
Right.
why, not really why should they choose you, but how do you compare to that big field of mayoral candidates?
I think, first of all, when you pick a mayor, it needs to be someone that you can believe in and that you feel have the skills that can run this city, number one. I've spoken truth to power since day one. I'm not afraid to speak truth to power. I'm not afraid to take the hit. You all know, they tell me all the time, Dr. Woods, we hit you so many times, but you get right back up. That's called resilience. So your mayor needs to be resilient. Your mayor needs to be the person that listens to the people. And I've always listened to you, and I've answered your call. Every time you called me, I've answered your call. I've never let you down. Whether it was 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, or 3 o'clock in the morning, I've been there for you. So I'm asking you right now to be there for me so I can continue to do the great works on another level so that you can finally have a mayor that listens to you and won't turn their back on you and turn away from what they said they were going to do. I am a woman of my word. So that's what matters.
All right.
That's what matters. I'm a woman of my word. And I'm willing to sit down with black folks, white folks, Hispanic folks, Indian folks, Asian folks. It doesn't matter. I am the most diverse candidate that has not got people in, they don't have me in their pocket. I don't owe anybody. So that's a good thing. I don't owe anybody any money. No one's done any special favors for me that I got to pay them back when I get back in office because they've done something for me. So I don't owe anybody anything. So I'm free to serve you, 100%. Free to serve you.
All right. So you've heard it here live on the Donna Show Live with Dr. Elenora Woods. She is your female African-American City of Chattanooga mayoral candidate. Now, she's got a lot more going on. She's got a radio station. She's got her dental practices. She's got a lot of community stuff going on. But she's got, let me say this, she is really, really in a good way off the chain. I love her energy. And here's the thing, I'm a lot for anybody. This may be a lot for you, but you've got to digest every bit of this and figure out, who am I going to vote for? Who am I going to stand for? What are my personal goals in life? What are the things that my family is looking for? And then I need you to go back and look at these videos and figure it out. Big shout out to every candidate who's coming here. We've got all of them on the Donna Show Live, but 2 so far. So we're going to keep doing that and keep pushing information out to you. I want to give a big thank you to Office Furniture Warehouse, Starbucks, MSI, Tranco, and Nothing But Cakes. We thank you, and right now, we're out.